Here I did his forehead, and it's just that he had such a long neck, and we hadn't done this before, that I thought, what about if I do some kind of a shoulder thing? So that's what I did. I sculpted from here to here, and we made those shoulders. That's why all the Kardashians. That's how the Kardashians got their shoulders, because Mark Alimo had a big neck. And we're talking about the shoulders that go down. Yeah. And here's the face. This was the one that I designed for the Klingon on Enterprise, the first one you see in the pilot. Klingons, there were no rubber pieces. They painted people brown and for the original Klingons. And that was it. There was no foreheads, there were no noses, there was no teeth. So I created that with Worf. And then we went on from there.
You know, you always drink alone. It wouldn't hurt you to seek out a little companionship.
I would require a Klingon woman for companionship. Earth females are too fragile.
This is basically like Brent's box almost, with all his gold powder in it. This makeup would be literally packed into his skin, and then the gold powder would be packed into that grease. Brent's hair was lighter on the edges. You take this with some water, and you go like that, and then you take and you brush it into his hair, and this would also take the gold out of the hair if I had any little extra powder that was over it. I've had a makeup lesson in Data.
Fascinating.
We've been here nearly 3 months working on it, so it's a large project with a great deal of property to take care of.
We organised trucks, 5 so far, to take it all back, and in this case they're shipped to New York, and there's 2 photographers working round the clock, I'm told, to get the photographs done in time, because there is a catalogue deadline, a printer's deadline, which I don't remember what it is, but it's not far away.
And we're sending out the 5th truck. There's everything in this truck. There's models, there's furniture, there's phasers, there's rifles, there's paintings, there's everything imaginable is on this particular truck. What we're looking for is the transporter, so that we can transport all this to New York just by going blee, 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 blee.
There's still so much of their work to be done in the galaxy. Mr. Sulu, break us out of orbit and continue to our next assignment.
Here we are at the warehouse in the Bronx, and we've got all of the things that have been shipped from Paramount in Los Angeles to us, and it's all got to be photographed, every bit of it. Well, every Christie's auction has its own catalog. Christie's produces a lot of catalogs every year. Each catalog usually illustrates every piece in the sale. My job is to document the piece, show it in the round, so that anybody who's interested in it can get an idea of what it really looks like.
Bring it in close, not on the edge. Bring it in close, right.
I'm ready.
Okay. Status of shields. Back to 48%, Captain.
Mr. Forge, I may have to take us out of the nebula. I want all the power you can give me.
Direct hit, Det 9.
Damage report.
Structural latching system integrity breached.
Prepare to take us out of here, number one.
The larger models in general take a lot more time than the smaller ones. I took 2 shots of it and I spent a total of 3 hours on it, which is a while, but it's not too bad considering how large an object it is.
Fire up the engines, half impulse till we clear the nebula, then punch it up to warp 9.
Ready phasers, load forward torpedo bays. Engage.
Trekkie, or Trekker, as some would prefer, is a term which describes the most dedicated and die-hard of Star Trek fans. As the years have progressed, so have the love and desire for Star Trek. If one is looking for evidence, one need look no further than any number of Star Trek conventions which take place in most corners of the world on any given weekend. It's at these conventions that fans get a chance to come face to face with some of their favorite characters and live out lifelong fantasies, usually dressed as their favorite Klingon or their favorite Starfleet officer. Without these dedicated and vibrant fans, Star Trek would have no doubt faded into history long ago.
We are at the Las Vegas Star Trek Convention. It is the 4th leg of our worldwide tour. And we've brought a whole bunch of terrific highlights from the upcoming auction. Well, you know, I think coming to the Star Trek conventions is really, it's direct marketing to the fans. And I think, you know, there's a lot of different segments of people that are going to love this kind of stuff and are going to buy this kind of stuff. But the reality is the community that supported the franchise for 40 years. Mike and Denise Okuda wrote not only phenomenal cataloging, but amazing, funny, anecdotal footnotes. So it really is the most incredible visual journey through all of Star Trek, I think, out there.
You speak of Christie's, known as a human place of commerce, where things of great value on this planet are sold to those who will truly appreciate them.
When you work on a show like Star Trek, you get an audience that's quite different than if you're working on a show like The Cosby Show or Cheers. Those shows had far, far larger audiences than we did, won far more awards than we did, but the fan base was nowhere near as passionate.
The black one is Mr. Data, and that's Lieutenant Tasha Yar, and that's the next generation of Starfleet poodles. We have had another set before that, so we've had a lot of poodles.
Hey, Data, don't talk like that now, come on.
I hadn't encountered people like this before. But the more I encountered them, the better I liked them.
They come from all walks of life. They're not some imbecilic little people running around who need to get a life. They are human beings of great quality.
Dave Bluestein is Spock and Alexander from Plato's Stepchildren.
People ask us, are you embarrassed to go out in public? Absolutely not. This is who we are. We're Star Trek fans. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. You know, I have a full-time job. She has a full-time job. We all have real lives, but this is playtime.
We're really, at least to my mind, we're all here ultimately celebrating Gene Roddenberry's vision. And we're in this kind of an infectious spirit that pervades that enterprise, that brings, no pun intended, that brings us all together. Yeah.
Star Trek allows everyone, regardless of economic background or anything, to have a hobby, and it's a great hobby.
You know, they're very loyal, they're very warm, you know, people. I mean, there's people.
You've got Star Trek fans that may dress up as Klingons and Vulcans and wear weird things. But you've got, you know, football fans who paint their faces, and they've got their hats with the 2 beers on it and all that. You know, they wear a costume.
And that's a very good analogy, the connection between Star Trek and people dressing up in football or baseball uniforms.
You've got the guys who ride their Harleys on the weekend that have the long beards and wear their vests and their chaps and all that. That's a costume.
Let's give them all a big round of applause, please.